Okay, welcome back to Industry RSVP In Depth. We've been having a great discussion for over a month now with Todd TQ Jefferson. I'm Seth Coltan. That's Todd TQ Jefferson. Todd, before we get into it, can you tell me where the TQ comes from?
Oh, that's simple. Todd Quincy.
And how long have they called you TQ? Is that like what your friends call you?
Yeah, that's TQ. Started in college. I started using TQ so people would not call me TJ.
Yeah.
I can't stand the nickname. So
they went with like the TJ Hooker and all that stuff.
There you go.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And
Say no more.
Do you actually do you sign your autographs TQ?
I do.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
You should have told me that a month ago. We would have been like best friends.
I don't autograph things though. You
really don't autograph
You overestimate my
I don't think so.
place in the world.
I think that you sign autographs. I think people want that. I want that.
I had this wonderful moment at Comic-Con this year. We were on the Marvel video games panel, and this kid, I think he was maybe 10 years old or something like that, but he had some of the best questions of the panel. So much that we all invited him to our other panels so he could ask us the same great questions. But at the end of it, I came walking down the stairs, and he came up to me with a Amazing Spider-Man hardcover trade paperback, and a pen. And he asked me to autograph the book, and I'm like, "You actually want me to sign this?" Right? He's like, "Yes, please."
Cool.
And as far as like, "If you would, sir, that would be great." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is insane." I think Bendis was one of the writers on it or something like that. And I'm like, "Okay, I'll sign it. Sure, why not? This is awesome." So moments like that, they don't happen often, but every time they do, I'm always thrilled by them.
Oh, I'm sure. I think they'll happen a lot more.
Yeah.
Now that you're world famous. So we were going to talk in this episode about some of the things that Marvel Video Games has going on right now. Do you mind telling me about some of the projects, some of the games that are out?
We have Superhero Squad, the Infinity Gauntlet, and that's by THQ. That's coming out in a little bit. And that one is a humorous take on one of Marvel's grimmest and grittiest storylines. So,
really?
The Infinity Gauntlet is a story of a character named Thanos, who's the consort of death, gaining the 6 Infinity Gems, and with that he can control all fabric of the universe, and he kills a bunch of people, and a bunch of heroes die. They come back, but a bunch of people die, and this is the humorous take on that. This is the kids' version.
Really?
So it's a story that I love. Thanos is my favorite villain in the Marvel pantheon, and to see this sort of execution for him is just it's mind-boggling, and
So
it's fun.
It gives you a kind of like a good kick to play it, and knowing the actual storyline and how this has been lightened up.
Exactly. I think it enhances the experience,
right,
knowing the storyline, but even if you don't know it, it's the Marvel universe with a huge infusion of comedy. And that's the point of the Superhero Squad is to make the Marvel universe a little more kid-friendly, and make it a little more humorous. If you've been reading the books in the last decade, you would know that the Marvel Universe has been a pretty grim place for a pretty long time. So to see this version or this aspect of Marvel is fun and refreshing.
That's cool. Peter Parker used to have the best one-liners ever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Peter Parker as Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
The writing on that was like top-notch comedy.
Spider-Man's ability to banter well with supervillains is practically a separate power.
Yeah.
It's great. It's one of the things that speaks so well about the character, makes him such an everyman, is that he's so shy and quirky and uncomfortable in his own skin. But when he puts on the mask, he's actually free. Mm-hmm. And I think that's just a wonderful thing that draws people to the character and has kept people coming back to the character for going on 50 years now.
Yeah.
Some of the other games we have are Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Which I think we talked about in an earlier segment, which is just...
That was a month ago.
That's ages ago. I barely remember it. But it's the game that everyone's been waiting for. And to say it came out swinging is an understatement. everyone's just been at Marvel and I believe at Capcom has just been floored by the response.
With the first Marvel versus Capcom, I went down to the arcade, to play the heck out of that thing. Is it a completely different lifestyle now that you don't go to the arcade to do? You can do it right from home. Or is there also an arcade version?
I don't believe there's an arcade version, but with features that the Xbox 360 and the PS3 have of online gaming, you've got that arcade experience where you can challenge people anywhere. I think it's actually expanded the arcade experience to it's made the community bigger, which is great.
Can I ask you, with the new Spider-Man movie in talks, now that they've cast the lead role and they're working on the other roles, are you already involved in the process of coming up with the game for that?
Well, I'm aware that there's a film.
I like you.
Yeah.
Most important question of the day, does Marvel give you free food?
Does Marvel give me free food? We get bagels. Bagels are very popular in the Marvel offices. Strangely enough, they're popular in both the New York and Los Angeles offices. So that's a nice
What about
constant.
Marvel Pops?
I've never seen Marvel
I
Pops.
think that the ice cream man has those.
Really?
Am I wrong?
Marvel
Pops. Oh, yeah. You can eat Captain America. Maybe we'll cut that part out.
Yikes.
But I think it's true. I've eaten Captain America. One of our
That's awkward.
really talented producers, Otto Woolfolk, she wanted me to ask you, if you wouldn't mind, talking a little bit more about your involvement with the video game animators and that process. I really don't know how to ask the question because I don't know what I'm saying, but you were here when she asked.
Right. Well, you know what? Here's a very good story about a meeting I had with a developer that was making a Superhero Squad game, and we were discussing how how Wolverine stands, how Wolverine moves through the world, and they had he had him posed a certain way where his claws were up and so forth, and I was trying to explain, and he was standing upright and he was sort of walking like this, and I had to explain to him that what Wolverine does is he crouches and puts his claws back, and there are very specific reasons for that. He crouches to make himself the smallest possible target that he can be.
Right.
And he puts his arms back because he's got 6-foot-long diamond-sharp knives sticking out the backs of his head. Yeah, exactly. He doesn't want to claw his own face off. It gives him maximum sort of threat potential and minimizes his sort of target space. And we went on to talk about Hulk and how Hulk's stance is sort of epitomizes his sort of inner rage and his turmoil, and even below that there's a layer of psychology of why Bruce Banner is so angry, and all of that is culminates in sort of the iconic poses of the Hulk. So after the end of this conversation, I got to turn to the animator and said, you realize we just spent 5 minutes talking about how Wolverine stands and how Hulk stands. It's like, how cool is this job? So those are those fun moments when I'm interacting with the animators or with the programming team to help them understand how to bring the Marvel characters to life. It's easy. Well, it's not easy. It's not easy at all. It's a different thing to draw it on a page than it is to build a model in 3D and then animate it and have it feel true. So the gaming world is learning that, and they're gaining their expertise in that. Whereas the guys that have been doing the books have been doing it for years, and they're wizards at it. They're absolutely amazing.
That's a good story. Thank you for telling me that. I have 2 final questions for you. One, what costumes do you currently have hanging in your closet? I know you've got at least one.
I don't.
Really?
I don't have any costumes, and it's for the simple fact that I'm lazy. I am too lazy to put in the time and the effort and the passion to build a costume. It's like a Jedi building his lightsaber. I'd be the one Jedi without a lightsaber. I admire all the folks that do that, and going to Comic-Con, this is what you should keep in mind when you go to Comic-Con. Comic-Con is that one gathering place where you can dress the way you want, and not only is it okay, but you're going to be surrounded by thousands of people that think the same way you do.
That's cool.
And that's comforting when you show up and go, wow, this is more than just me. This is a community of thousands, hundreds of thousands. The 100,000 that can make it just to this event. So I think that's really, really pretty awesome.
Yeah, I think so too. My last question is, I know that there are going to be people watching this at home who don't typically watch the virtual channel network, but they're here watching for you, and they're really happy you're here. They're really upset that I'm the person who did the interview and didn't ask the questions they wanted. So I would like to know if I can invite you back one day for one future episode, and I'd like to pose to the audience, if they have questions for you, to email them to us at info@virtualchannelnetwork.com, and then we can get them to you, and we'll choose maybe 15 and do a follow-up. Is that okay with you?
That sounds great.
You heard it here first, Spidey friends. Thank you so much, TQ, for coming down. I had a really good time, and I learned a lot from you.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Cool.
All right.
Peace out.